Hi, I'm Matthew Fulton with Parkway Business Solutions. I'm here today to show you how QuickBooks Online can adapt to meet your business needs. So let's get started. During today's agenda, we're going to talk about how you can expand your team and your accounting through the use of QuickBooks Online Essentials. Then we're going to also talk about some of the additional features that Intuit offers to help your business grow before we jump into talking about QuickBooks Online Plus and how you can really utilize it to optimize and grow your business to that next level. Of course, a conversation about QuickBooks Online wouldn't be complete without talking about QuickBooks Online Advanced, and specifically how you can design your accounting around the needs of the business finally. The last part we'll touch base on is going to be the premium app integrations. There are some great apps that have been working hand in hand with Intuit to really be able to make the best accounting platform possible for your specific needs. So as we talk about expanding your team and your accounting, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the features inside of QuickBooks Online Essentials. With Essentials, it's the first of the platforms that allow you the ability to start to really track your bills and expenses. Bills being that's money owed at a later date, of course. Now, this is important because again, it provides owners the ability to see the insights as to really who they owe money to and when those bills are due. You can also take those expenses, or you can track billable expenses through time and invoice customers directly for that. You can set up scheduled payment terms, and the most important is you can make payments directly without ever leaving the QuickBooks Online platform. As I mentioned a moment ago, the ability to have like billable expenses means you, as you're growing your team as well, you now have the ability to bring on additional employees, have them have access as well, but they can start to track their time. And this becomes really important if you're working on different jobs or projects for people, that they track the time, assign it to a specific customer, and that can be used basically for payroll, but you can also have it automatically added to customers' invoices. Now, this setup allows you to provide protected access for the employees to just enter time if you want, and they don't have to see anything else about the business, which is great. This leads to a good time to talk about some of the additional features really designed to help you grow your business. Now, additional features, what I mean by that is something like your merchant processing. So your merchant processing is one of the most important things to set up right away. And what we're talking about is how do customers pay you? Thanks to Intuit Merchant Processing, you have the ability that you can set up and create an invoice, send it online digitally to the customer, and make it to where they can pay you very easily online. They can pay you using ACH check, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. You can even use Apple Pay nowadays. Once a payment's been received, you'll actually notice on your dashboard the deposit dates that are expected for those to come through. Now, the real secret and power behind this, though, is the ability for you to simplify your accounting by doing it this way, because it's going to help take and match up your accounts receivable. You don't have to go through anymore and take an invoice, try to figure out what part of a bank deposit matched to it. It will match those things for you automatically. And it's also going to go through and it's going to track your merchant fees for you as well. Again, simplifying and reducing the amount of work you have to do yourself on a monthly basis. Another major benefit that Intuit, of course, offers is their payroll services. And there's 3 different levels of payroll that you can go with. Basically, it's your core, your premium, and your elite. Now, of course, all the payroll has the capabilities of entering time, paying different things, garnishment, so forth. But with the core aspect, you have the ability that you can start to set up auto payroll. This is great if you have, maybe it's just a single manager that has a monthly recurring salary, exactly the same all the time. Set it, leave it, you're done. It's great. You can also set up, though, of course, doing normal tracking, normal weekly, bi-weekly payroll, however you wish, and that all those employees will be paid through a next day direct deposit, which is still super, super fast. Additionally, since we talked about those billable expenses, you now have the ability as well that if you're paying contractors or subcontractors, I should say, you can actually be tracking 1099 for end of year for e-filing, but also make payments out to them directly through the platform itself. That definitely helps at year end. As you expand up to premium, premium now adds on a couple additional features, such as the ability for tracking time on the go. So now with those employees, they can, be clocking in, clocking out from their mobile device, or you could also have a kiosk set up. There's a lot of really cool ways to make it easy for people to clock in and out. This also gives the first option for where you can set up your workers' compensation inside the platform. So with a great company, AP Indigo. The benefit of that is you can actually set up a workers' comp policy that's pay as you go. So if you have certain periods of time where employees are more active and working more, you're still only paying for the amount of workers' comp for the amount of work that's being done. Definitely helps your cash flow. I love the HR support as well. One of the hardest things about running a business is trying to wear the HR hat nowadays with the employees as well. So getting the additional HR support is phenomenal. It's going to keep you up to date on all the changes that are happening all the time. And then, of course, your employees will love, as well as you, that same day direct deposit. So if you ever have to do that last minute check, you can do same day direct deposit. Makes everything a lot easier. Finally, the top one, of course, is Elite. Elite gives you that same time track on the go, but it now adds on projects within the time tracking area. So within that reporting, you can break out different tasks or that people are working on for different customers to get a little bit deeper, more granular details. Again, trying to expand and grow with your company. This is also one where they will do the tax penalty protection as well. So as you set up with Elite, it becomes, you can almost call like a full service payroll where they're helping to make sure that the taxes are paid and everything's filed. They also have this tax penalty protection to help you out. The HR takes it to the next level as well. Now you have a personal HR advisor. When it comes to payroll and employees, but it doesn't necessarily stop there. I already touched base on the fact that you can do workers' compensation through AP Indigo. And it's a great setup, makes it easy, and definitely improves cash flow for your company. But you can also now set up and shop for health insurance policies. So you can start to expand through Simply Insured, the ability for you and your employees, different policies, have it set up. And the nice thing is the deductions and things that are involved with payroll, which often make it very complex, start to become automatic built into it. Even more exciting is retirement plans. So with a company guideline, Intuit's teamed up to offer retirement options, 401ks. So you can, again, have everything all into one house, making it much easier to account for these details, make sure things are accurate, and make sure you're avoiding penalties, so forth. So 3 great companies that are teaming up to get you the best benefit to help you grow that team. So we've talked about some of the added features that you can use. Now, I wanted to talk about when it's time to grow from your QuickBooks Online Essentials into a QuickBooks Online Plus environment. And what are the differences between the two? There are quite a few variations, but one of the biggest ones you'll note right off the bat, it has to be managing your inventory. Now, not every company uses inventory, or I should say inventory to the physical, like I've got 5 of these widgets and 3 of these widgets, and oh my gosh, I'm running out of those widgets. What's really cool with inventory here is you now have the ability that you can actually manage it, set it up, need it for tax-wise, but you can set low and out-of-stock alerts. This will make sure that you have the inventory you need when you need it. You just need to understand the life cycle of your inventory. You can also track back orders because you've got the ability to create purchase orders now. So maybe you ordered a whole bunch of something, but you only got part of it. Well, you need to be able to know that you only received half because, again, if it's your top selling item, you don't want to lose out on sales. Oh, by the way, those purchase orders can also be linked to those bills, which then can be paid without ever leaving the platform, as we talked about before. Now, one of my favorite things, and I could talk forever about this, ability to track your income and expenses through QuickBooks Projects and QuickBooks Time. This is a really, really cool feature that helps so many different companies. When I say something like QuickBooks Projects, most companies think, oh, it's construction. It's like you're going to flip a house and you can do this. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can use it for that. But you can also use it for software development companies, marketing agencies. You can use it for accounting firms, anything where people are trying to track and see if a certain project they're working on is profitable or not in comparison to maybe like a recurring revenue. The nice thing is with QuickBooks Time and Projects, you have the ability that you can assign time activities towards a specific project so you can then start to pull unique reporting to see how profitable things were. Part of the way this is done is Intuit created what they call their hourly, it's basically the hourly cost calculator. And this can be done for every single employee. The way this is handled is you basically will put in the wages. And if you're running payroll, the first two are going to be filled in for you. So again, you'll love that because it's already done. And then all you have to do is add a couple more details, such as the employer's portion of taxes. You're also going to figure out your workers' compensation at the hourly rate for that employee. And then this is one of the most important parts, is your overhead. And your overhead is, if you've got your cost of goods, the stuff that you're spending towards actually bringing, making sales, bringing money in the door, your overhead's all the other stuff. So you figure out what the hourly rate of that would be on average, and you add that to each one of the employees. And now you're getting this blended rate that through projects, you can get reporting to see, geez, this is what I'm really paying out specifically towards a job to see how profitable you are or are not. This is a game changer. It's really, really important. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is going to be budgets. And budgets are really cool because, well, they also introduce a couple other features that we should talk about. Classes, locations, we'll talk about locations in a moment, but classes are commonly used, especially nonprofits, anybody that really needs to get a little bit more granular with your detail. And you want to break out between version A or version B. Heck, classes could be different regions for sales. You can create budgets using the information in QuickBooks Online, and then you can actually break them apart by customer, project, or job, classes, or locations. And you can have multiple budgets. So now you're not just doing historical accounting, you're actually looking at real time, how are you doing with your expectations for success in the future. A moment ago, I mentioned the fact we talk about locations. What a location is, this got its own slide on purpose because a location, what it does, gives you the ability that you can, in a sense, run two different business locations or different types of businesses, you can change the name a bit, that have different names, phone numbers, emails, addresses, so forth, that the invoice that you use would change automatic. And it gives you the ability, you can then track the revenues and expenses independently for those. So this would be great for companies where if you've got a franchise and you want to be able to track online the revenues coming from both of them, but still pull it together or do comparisons. Locations is a pretty neat feature. With all this said and done, you've taken the time, you've created, you've got the data going in right, you're using all the features and the functionality of QuickBooks Online Plus, but now we should talk about the reporting. With QuickBooks Online Plus, this is where you get to start to customize and automate your reporting. So what do I mean by that? As you go into customize reports, you can add different custom fields, you can choose, you can filter down if you want to by maybe you want to filter reports on just certain customers for reports or maybe certain vendor expenses, so forth. You can do whatever you want with these things and then you can save it and memorize it. The next thing you can do with it though, which is cool, is you can also schedule those things to be automatically sent out. So if you've ever had a sales team and you have to deal with sales commissions, this is a great example of it. Sometimes trying to get people to create those reports can take some time. So in the past, what we've done is we've actually created customized reports for each sales agent, and then we set up an automatic recurring schedule that once a month it was emailed out to the salesperson, which helped motivate them to do the numbers, get it turned in faster. They got paid faster. The company was able to have better control over their cash flow. All in all, it was a win-win-win for everybody. And with QuickBooks Online Plus, this is one of the first ones you can really start to really do that customization. QuickBooks Online Plus also provides you more ability to actually expand your users. We're expecting that your business has grown. There's going to be more people, which means you probably have more people that are getting involved directly into your accounting. Maybe you have one person that needs to focus on the accounts receivable and another person who's focusing on your accounts payable. With QuickBooks Online Plus, you actually can set up to 5 users and you can choose what access they have. Now, the admin access is going to be access to everything for you, of course. You can then do limited access and select, hey, I only want this person to specifically have access to customers and the customer records. That means they wouldn't be able to do anything on the billing side, which is great. Stay focused, make sure that part's handled. They can do a better job doing that specific task. You can do the same thing by doing it on the vendor side. And then most important is even when you're doing these things, you can set up to where they don't have access to payroll or certain people do. That's important so you don't have one employee who can automatically see visibility to other people's paychecks, so forth. So they've really done a great job of creating these different levels of limitation of access. Now, maybe you have a couple people that all they really need is just reports. So you can set up report only and time tracking people, which don't go against your 5 users, which is great. They would still be able to run just basic reports without having to dive in and be protected from the rest of the accounting itself. Intuit's also been very smart about it, and they added on the ability for 2 accountants. That would be perhaps you have a bookkeeper who's handling a lot of the monthly recurring stuff. And then you also have a tax professional or CPA that at the end of the year, they finalize the details, get you sent off, your taxes sent off. This allows them to collaborate together to make sure you always have the information you need when you need it. So the question, I guess, is who should move to QuickBooks Online Plus? There's a lot of different scenarios, but to try to give you a couple examples, first one would be business consultants and coaches. Business consultants and coaches could use this really to start tracking the projects to see how profitable the services are for single projects versus recurring clients. And when you think about it that way, there's a lot of other companies that kind of follow that same kind of a structure. Maybe yoga studios and gyms. Since we now have the ability to do inventory, you could have a setup where, well, we have a client that has a yoga studio that also does a tea house, and they need to track the different inventory they have for that tea house. So QuickBooks Online Plus was an obvious for them. It allows them to be able to track different aspects of their business. In that scenario, they can be seeing how the tea house is doing for revenues versus the courses, again, by just upgrading to QuickBooks Online Plus. In the past, we've also worked with a lot of real estate agents and mortgage companies. And usually this is pretty popular because you need the classes to try to track out different sales associates for the commissions that would be earned or monies that have to get added back in on a loan. So these type of companies really tend to appreciate moving to QuickBooks Online Plus. We talked about before as just a couple more examples, but inventory-based companies. If you're doing anything inventory-based, you're going to want to step up to QuickBooks Online Plus. It's the first one that offers that capability. So this will help you track your inventory appropriately. You still have the ability for non-inventory items and service-based with different distinctions between them. And service-based companies, and this is a wide one. If you think about service-based companies, it's your plumber, your electrician, your landscaper. It's any of those type of businesses where, again, they could be utilizing the QuickBooks Time and Payroll all combined together to simplify their payroll process, start to make it more really becomes kind of paperless, but also track those expenses against certain projects to make sure they're being profitable. No better way to make sure you're quoting people right and actually making money in business than putting the expenses against the right thing. QuickBooks Online Plus it's the ultimate accounting platform for small businesses. It works across all different types of businesses and gives them the ability to grow and scale when they need to. But we couldn't finish this conversation, of course, if we didn't also talk about QuickBooks Online Advanced, the newest offering by Intuit, of course. QuickBooks Online Advanced is going to give you the ability to truly design your accounting around the needs of your business. There are numerous different features within this newer offering that really help stand out and make a major difference. To me, one of the most important ones is the visual storytelling with the advanced analytics and their business insights, basically their visual reporting. I guarantee you've probably had a time where you go and you look at your profit and loss, your P&L, your income statement. And if I had to guess, most people will go scroll straight to the bottom and they're going to look at, was there money there? Did I make money or not? And if they made money, they're like, where'd the money go? If they didn't make money, they're like, how come I'm not making money? Where the real secrets are in the middle. And I've ran a test in the past where I showed a person a basic P&L, and then I showed them these insights. The insights, the ability to customize these dashboards, to give you the option to kind of look at any of your profit and loss accounts from like a 5,000 foot view or bring it down. This made them ask questions. They became engaged in everything. And that is when business starts to just thrive. Through the reporting, you can select what items you want to compare. So this customer versus that customer. Maybe it actually is items. Which were your most profitable items to sell or not? You can add multiple filters and you can save these little widgets all on your own customized dashboard. So at a glance, you can always be seeing visually what's going on in your company. I mean, which would you prefer? Trying to read through a whole bunch of reports or look at a visual dashboard to see how you're doing? Now, the key thing is, though, all of those visual stories, they're kind of hard to, like, you can't do anything with them if you don't have the data behind it, right? This is why one of my favorite features has always been the custom fields, truly advanced custom fields in QuickBooks Online Advanced. What they do is they give you the ability through unique types of custom fields, like a drop down. You'll have a date one, a number one, and the common text one, that you can be sure to kind of clean up your data and make sure people are putting in just the right information. And let me explain that a little better. What we're seeing on the screen here is the drop down, my personal favorite. Previously to QuickBooks Online Advanced, if you wanted to use a basic text custom field, and I'm going to go back to that sales agent example, and somebody has to type in Matt or Matthew, they would put in M-A-T-T, or they might do M-A-T-T-H-E-W, or they may do M-A-T-H-E-W. Now that sounds really silly, but when you go to run reports to see what commissions are owed by that person, you're going to have to clean all that data up to get the right information first. So by using custom fields like this with dropdowns, you can put in designated answers that are what people would use to select from. A great example of it is lead source. Hopefully every time somebody's connecting with you, you're asking, how'd you hear about me? Nowadays, it's super, super important to make sure you're optimizing what you're spending on your marketing, of course. And as you can see from the screen here, it could be a Google search. Maybe it was a conference you went to. Maybe it was a client referral. That's another example of how you can use a drop down to really track and see through your sales, expenses, everything else, where you're shining inside your business. Besides the custom fields, the next feature I really, really love, I think it's very helpful for a lot of our clients that we've seen, it's the batch transaction capability. I start with the custom fields because one of the benefits of batch transactions is you can input data from those custom fields into here as well. You could quickly create duplicate invoices. So if you have a certain billing item that's exactly the same, but you need to create it for 20 different customers, well, you can create it once, click a couple buttons and say, create same thing for each of these customers, and click, 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 choose them and add it in. An example that we did one time recently was with it was a nonprofit organization that was doing entrepreneurship education. And they were doing a pitch competition for 8th graders through 12th graders. At the end of this event, we had to cut 100 different checks to each of the different teams that were actually participating. So what I was able to do ahead of time is I knew the names of the people that would all get checks, created in Excel, have it all lined up to where all I needed to know was who won what, put the amounts in, and I could take, copy, paste it right in, and be able to create all of those checks and print them directly from QuickBooks Online within a very short amount of time. The previous year, we had to mail those checks out. That year, everybody left with a check, and you should have seen their smiles. They were loving it. With the batch transactions, you also have the ability, you can modify and delete things. These are features that traditionally at lower levels of QuickBooks Online, you utilize different applications, third-party apps to accomplish these goals. So Advanced is really designed for companies with those higher transaction counts that need to get large amounts of data in very, very quickly. And they offer it on numerous different types of transactions. So not only on your invoices, with your invoices, you can either create, edit, or delete, but what you can also create for your bank deposits, your sales receipts, checks, expenses, and bills. So all of these different transaction types, you're able to enter stuff in a quicker process to get the most possible out of this accounting platform. And again, as I mentioned before, you do have the ability for the custom fields to be putting this data in. And remember, the data you track through those custom fields, you'll get to use on those insights and additional reporting as well. One of the newer features, but most powerful ones, has to do with the automated workflows. But what we're able to do here with the automated workflows is create special workflows such as setting up a bill approval. So with QuickBooks Online Advanced, you can do up to 25 users, which means your team, your business has grown dramatically, and you probably have them all designated doing very specific tasks. So maybe that accounts payable group, maybe now that group is, you got 5 or 6 people on it. Maybe you have certain people focused only on certain clients, where other ones are focused on other clients as well. You can set up a bill approval process that once bills are put in, so forth, it then goes to a primary person that does the approval setup. Additional examples in there, of course, are sending recurring statements to a customer. We've all had a customer that every single month they request a statement every single time. Why not automate it? Make it easy to where that just goes out to them every single time. You don't even have to touch it. I also like the example of the getting open purchase orders. Inventory companies, it's really important to know what you have, what you're still waiting on. This becomes important, especially with bills, because you don't want to double pay on something if you haven't received it. So you can set up automatic reminders to go to the right person that's going to get that report every single time. It's just one more thing you can check off that manual list you won't have to deal with. I can definitely tell you the automatically sent unsent invoices has helped me a couple times, where I would go in, create the invoice, and not send it off because I got busy or something, where this can be structured and set up that way and will automatically send it off for time. This works also, as we talked about before, the idea of like billable expense time. So if you have billable time, this will create the invoice and get it ready to be sent out. One I didn't put up here, which is also neat, is people overdue on certain things. You can have it automatically stamp on the invoice overdue and add a special memo in there so you know that it's past those terms and it can be resent out so you know the person did pay you on time. I told you we talk about the different user permissions, and that's exactly where we're at. With QuickBooks Online Advanced, again, you have the ability to go up to 25 users. And within that, now you need the ability to do a much more detailed access points, like who should be able to access to what. To make this easier, they've set up quite a few different templates that you can use, but you can also create your own. So some of the templated ones would be like a sales manager, where they can access all the sales transactions, the customers, your products, your services, sales tax, and currencies. You could have an inventory manager. Inventory manager is going to assign the role basically to view what's coming in, what's not from the inventory side of it. They can add, create different products and services because the way you set those up are important. And of course, we touched base earlier, but a payroll manager is important, making sure that the person who has the dedicated access to seeing everybody's pay can do so. And the standard ones of like reports only, standard user, that stuff is there. But you can still fully customize all of the access through a great grid of checkboxes of I want this to be accessible, this not, so forth, and save it for future employees as well. One of the next important features that's only available through QuickBooks Online Advanced, probably one of the most important as well. We've just talked about all this data and all this stuff we put into our accounting. I mean, it's the heart of your business. So how do you protect it? How do you make sure that that stuff doesn't go away? That's where backup and restore comes. Backup and restore is an add-on that's part of your QuickBooks Online Advanced subscription. You basically go in and you can set up and either do a manual backup anytime you want or schedule it and don't even worry about it. So why would you need to do this? With all those new employees, maybe somebody is a go-getter and they decide to try to connect an application and that application connection fails. Or maybe something happens and there's a bigger error of how invoicing everything else is done. With backup and restore, it will do automatic backups, but the key is you can restore from those backup points. That means if you have a challenge within your data, you can step backwards, restore it, and not lose a whole bunch of stuff. This is super, super important as the business grows larger and larger, and so many people have access and putting their hands into it. This also gives you the ability you can take and create a copy of one company file and move it to another one. So maybe you need to split years of a company file. You could do stuff like that. And again, as we said, this is actually included as part of your QuickBooks Online subscription. It's pretty cool. QuickBooks Online Advanced, I should say. Now, let's say you did the backup, you've got all these other things. Well, what about support? QuickBooks Online Advanced specifically offers Priority Circle. With Priority Circle, you have the ability, you're basically to connect with your support team however you want, 24/7. You can call a priority line, which means less waiting. You can send an email if you wish to, or you can even schedule an appointment, my personal favorite, and have them call you right back. With Priority Circle, they've got dedicated staff that are highly trained to get you the best answers and get you resolution for the challenges you have as quick as possible. So again, now the question is, with all these new features and functionality, who should be moving to QuickBooks Online Advanced from Plus? And there are plenty of use cases for this, of course. A couple ones I came up with to try to share with you would be like a franchise or a multiple entity company. The reason for this is Fathom reporting. Fathom happens to be one of the premium apps that connect and allows you to combine your financials from multiple different companies and roll them all up into one for tax purposes. Now, nonprofits are also another organization or an industry that really loves QuickBooks Online Advanced. primarily because the chart of accounts can get really big. Bigger is you can actually not only do budgets, but you can import budgets. So you're having to manually type stuff in, you can import them instead. With all the different people in a nonprofit, you can create those custom workflows to make sure specific people are doing specific tasks. Heck, you can even set up a workflow to send emails to your donors. They tend to love having the budgets versus actual reporting. And again, so much more you can do with the advanced reports. Additional ones, professional services. This is kind of a wide variety one. It covers a wide range. It's going to be your law firms, accountants, marketing agencies, software development companies. Again, there are so many different iterations and different types of industries that can benefit from this. But all of those really, they're going to appreciate the ability to use the custom fields to track important detailed data points, the workflow permissions to help improve the efficiency of their team, and the advanced reporting will allow them to track revenue across different multiple partners. As another example, restaurants or food trucks. If they're using a third-party platform to do their point of sale and they need to pull data in quickly, they can take advantage of those batch transactions to import their daily sales. They can track expenses against special events, so forth. Now, with all of these cool features, functionalities, and across so many industries that could be using it, Intuit's been working really hard to create these different premium app integrations. So these are premium relationships with different apps to really help you customize and detail, set up the specific needs of that business. And I talked to you before about advanced reporting with Fathom. Besides just doing that one roll-up, Fathom does so much more. You can actually create and track your own key performance indicators. That means you can figure out within your industry, within your area, how are you doing in comparison to different businesses in your realm? Or maybe track, like, how's your revenue? Is it going up or down? Set alerts even if your revenue is down by a certain amount. You can create and evaluate different business scenarios, like, is it time to buy a new piece of inventory or should I hire a new employee? You can even review your cash flow, what your expected cash flow would be, to make sure this business stays stable and you can buy the things you need. Oh, and of course, the automated monthly reporting is one of my favorite. We talked about the nonprofits before. Fathom gives you the ability to create custom templates that you can automatically email out. So if you have one board member that wants reporting a certain way and another board member who wants it another way, you can create those, save them, and not have to recreate it every single month. Lien Law is another one that's a great example of a niche application that's working together hand in hand with QuickBooks Online Advanced. Lien Law is for the legal practice. With Lien Law, they basically created the best way possible to connect the front end, the tracking time, the billing against different matters and such for their clients, and then having that connect to the back end, QuickBooks Online Advanced, to make it easier to do that billing out to clients. It becomes a win-win, phenomenal setup, and lawyers all over the place are truly, truly loving this thing. I highly recommend you check it out. One of my favorites, which comes in line with that as well, is DocuSign. So DocuSign now integrates with QuickBooks Online Advanced, giving you the ability that you can actually send an estimate and request a client's signature, digital electronic signature right then and there. It's going to help you close deals a lot faster. You'll also get notified on the status of the documents, so you can follow up, with next steps immediately. Basically, it's trying to get you from lead to close deal and dollars in the door as fast as possible with a great brand, DocuSign. Additionally, when it comes, we've talked about so far a lot of the money in aspects of these different integrations. So we should also talk about the money out. Bill.com is an application that's been in the industry for quite some time and well revered. With QuickBooks Online Advanced, you can connect with Bill.com and basically speed up your AP approval process. You can set up workflows, routing rules for faster and easier approvals for any device. You can pay and track domestic and international payments and even estimate what their delivery time would be. So this, again, will help you on the cash flow, on the money out aspect of it, giving you great control over it all. We've shared with you at this point in time numerous different applications that are connecting, but the really cool and exciting part is that Intuit's working day after day, creating these new premium app connections that ultimately it's all designed on purpose to help you design your accounting platform around the needs of your business. If you look backwards a couple years and you think about what accounting once was, we used to be stuck to generating just reports were available. But hopefully you can see now through our journey today, how getting involved with the QuickBooks Online products and platforms, how if you upgrade your QuickBooks subscription, it can actually help it make it easier for your business to grow. that if you optimize your accounting process by connecting different premium applications, you can get the information you need to make the best decisions possible. I guess if I was really to try to summarize up everything I was hoping to share today, what it comes down to is that QuickBooks Online provides a different solution for a lifetime of business. That's all the time we have today. Again, my name is Matthew Fulton with Parkway Business Solutions, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch today. I hope you found this information valuable, and again, thank you so much.